Hey, Bruce Taylor here, your boomer consumer. Thanks for watching. This has been a really fun video to make. This is my review of the AIYIMA T9 Pro. This is a hybrid integrated amp with a tube-based preamp and then a Class D power amplifier. This really does just about everything. Bluetooth, and it's got a built-in DAC and can hook up to your PC or television. A lot of different uses for this, all in one tiny little package. And if you're not a subscriber to the channel, hit that subscribe button today. Always love to hear from you in the comments down below. And if you like the video, hit that like button as well. I would like to kind of share with you just my experience with the T9 Pro a little bit. I basically had this connected to a Mac Mini, right, using Plex server, as well as Apple Music connected via USB output from the Mac Mini directly into the T9 Pro. And I have to tell you, I listen to a wide variety of music. We're going to cover more of that in a little bit, but different volume levels, whether it was, my normal listening level, which is somewhere around say 70 dB. And I think the loudest I got up to was about 85 dB. I put all kinds of music through it, whether it was blues, classic rock, classical, jazz, electronica, a wide variety of stuff. I got to tell you, the use cases of this thing are phenomenal because of its very diminutive size and weight. It could easily be placed just about anywhere. Totally ideal, I think, for a small home office, maybe a bedroom, a den, something like that. But yeah, it can get quite loud and fill a decent sized room pretty well with volume. So let's take a little bit more in depth. So on with more deeper overview of the T9 Pro. So before we get started on the overview of the T9 Pro, let's just talk about what's included in the box when you buy it. Well, you get a quick start guide, you get a warranty information, you get the remote control, a 32 volt 5 amp power brick, an 8 gig thumb drive, USB cable, an optical cable, your power cord, and two GE branded JAN 5725 tubes, and of course the T9 Pro itself. So let's talk a little bit about the technical specs of the T9 Pro. So this uses the Texas Instruments TPA 3250 Class D power amplifier circuit. So this is a hybrid. You get a tube-based preamp, and then you get Class D amplification. As I understand it, AIYIMA raised it up to 100 watts per channel into 4 ohms. I'm thinking into 8 ohms is probably somewhere maybe about 60 watts per channel peak to peak, but I couldn't find anything really that says what the power output is at 8 ohms on here. As far as the built-in DAC, it is the ES9018 K2M DAC. And I will tell you, I thought it was a decent sounding little DAC. I was actually quite surprised how nice music sounded with this DAC. And that can accommodate up to 24-bit, 192 kilohertz sample rate. Frequency response is rated 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. And then the Bluetooth chip in here, this is Bluetooth 5.1. Supports aptics, aptics HD, aptics low latency, SBC, and AAC up to 24-bit, 44.1 kilohertz. And those are the tech specs. As far as the size, measures approximately 4.5 inches in depth by 4 inches in width and approximately 2 inches in height. So it is a very small unit. A nice all-metal build quality. You've got some vents on the sides for ventilation. Some people think that it gets a little too warm. I did not. It does get warm, but I didn't experience it getting hot at any time. I will say about the loudest I listened to this was around 85 dB, but not for a very long period of time. I normally listen around about 72 to 75 dB most of the time, or lower, actually. You got nice metal on here. Of course, you have the two GE tubes. You have these two beautiful meters. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. You have this nice knurled, I think it's a metal volume control. I know this much: when you turn it, you can actually feel the stops on there, but it doesn't make an audible click as far as I can tell. Let's talk a little bit more about the meters. So I think the more interesting of the two is the meter that shows you the following. It shows you your sample rate, which is very, very tiny, very small to see. But it also shows you your volume range, your input that you're on, the bass and treble levels, and then you get this little ring of outer LEDs that light up and kind of move with the music. So it's kind of a psychedelic looking thing, but it's kind of cool. So you have that. You have these nice gold around the outside edges. And of course, who doesn't love a regular BU meter? It's just so much fun to watch. It's not real big, but good enough to do the job. On the front, you have this select button, which changes inputs. And of course, you have the volume control. Now let's talk about what's on the back of the T9 Pro. You have your Bluetooth antenna. You have RCA audio inputs on there. So maybe you have a turntable with a preamp built in or a phono stage built in. You can just plug it right into there or another device. You have a coaxial input, optical input, PC USB, that's type B. Then you have this 3.5 millimeter preamp output. It's a fixed voltage line level out. I believe it's at 2 volts. Maybe you could hook up a powered subwoofer with this, for example. Then you have your speaker terminals left and right. And finally, you have your power input. And that is what's on the back of the T9 Pro. So some of the music that I listen to that I use routinely to audition gear, one of the albums is B.B. King's Live at the Apollo. It's just got so much punch and dynamics to it. Just really is such a wonderful album to really listen for detail, especially in BB's voice, and of course Lucille, if you're looking for the vocals in the mid-range, and of course when there's saxophone and horns. It's just a wonderful album. One of the tracks I really enjoyed is called Since I Met You, Baby. The T9 just helps bring the vocals to life. There's just a sparkle there. And I've listened to a number of other Class D amplifiers, and I would say this is equal to the best of them. It really does such a fantastic job with it. The guitar was impeccable on this track, as well as the saxophones. Another album that I really enjoy is Led Zeppelin's Houses of the Holy. And the track No Quarter. The imaging was just really on point because, soundstage and imaging and all that sort of thing reveals the layers of the music, the placement of the instruments, the detail. An amp really has to respond to the dynamics and the punch and deliver, and it actually delivers a nice bit of muscle to the music. One of my favorite albums of all, and I listen to this just about every piece of gear I test, is Fleetwood Mac's Rumors album, and the track I Don't Want to Know. The harmonies in there, the vocals, they just pop and they really shine. Let's talk about bass a little bit. The bass of the T9 Pro is very, very good. It's solid. It's not muddy. It's fast. That Texas Instruments chip, I think, just does such a wonderful job, and I'm sure that's why many, many companies use that chipset in their Class D affordable line of amplifiers. So the amp just never appeared to struggle. And that's up to where I get it to what I consider to be an unreasonably loud listening level. They just never felt this thing struggle. Of course, you have those beautiful meters to look at, because who doesn't love meters? Okay, let's talk about what I like. I like the physical size of the amp, and that means that you can place this thing pretty much anywhere, on a desktop, on a bookshelf, maybe beside a TV. It just doesn't take up a lot of space. Plenty of power, and I think it's, if you look what the chip maker says, up to 130 watts, peak to peak into 4 ohms. Not sure, recall what was at 100 ohms, but or at 8 ohms rather. I'm not sure what it is exactly at 8 ohms, but as I said earlier, I'm guessing it's probably around about 60 watts or so. It performs well for the price. The meters, again, look fantastic. I can't talk enough about the meters. It's beautiful. They're just really cool. Although that looking at your frequency there on the DAC is you almost need a magnifying glass to see it. But I like all the inputs that it has. I think the remote works really, really well with this unit. You better not lose it because you really need it to adjust the bass and the treble. But other than that, those are the things that I really like. Is there anything that I dislike about the T9 Pro? You know, I think they could include a headphone jack. Other than that, no, I think this is a nice little unit. I couldn't really find any flaws with it. I should say it's also very easy to use. Built well, should be pretty durable. And who can complain about the price, really? $150, although I've seen it priced on some sale prices and that kind of thing. So the price might vary a little bit. If you're interested in more information, I do have my Amazon link to this. And if you do purchase through my affiliate links, it doesn't cost you any more and does help to support the channel where I can get other gear and review it for you. So really, the T9 Pro really is a high value, sweet sounding little amp. You pair this with some efficient speakers like, say my Klipsch R51Ms. Really sounds great, especially in a home office or a bedroom. For someone maybe who wants to up their audio game, maybe they're coming from the world of Bluetooth speakers and earbuds and that kind of thing to listen to the hi-fi. They want to kind of get their feet wet, but they don't want to spend a lot of money on it. Something like this is going to make a great piece of kit. And I think that paired with some good passive speakers, this is going to sound as good as many powered speakers and way better than most Bluetooth speakers. And that is it. That is my review of the AIYIMA T9 Pro. Integrated hybrid amplifier, built-in DAC, Bluetooth, all the bells and whistles you really want. Maybe it doesn't have a subwoofer out, but it does have that 3.5 millimeter output. So there you have it. Bruce Naylor, your Boom Consumer. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.